Wow. I don't even know where to start. Excuse me. Holy crap. Yesterday was, let's just put it this way, an eventful one. Denver, well, basically all of the Front Range just had like the mother of all hailstorms. And I happen to be in the roofing business. So that's basically kind of what we wait for, what we strive for, what we're prepared for. You know, it's what every roofer starts their business hoping to get that big hailstorm to where they can go and change their life and just roof as many houses as they can and make things happen. So I'm going to take a couple minutes. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go deep on that today and what it's like, some of the differences, you know, between a well-prepared company and an unprepared company, because I have the luxury of being both. We'll start with unprepared. What happens when you have a roofing company and you have, you know, a couple sales guys, maybe a couple people in the office, and you're just grinding along, trying to make it happen, waiting on that big storm, and then it comes. You get the huge storm. It hits you. What happens? A lot of things happen. First off, a lot of companies, what they do, what their natural reaction is to just get as many boots on the ground as possible, get as many people out there banging on doors, canvas, 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 canvas. But the problem with that is that's what everyone does. By the time the storms had even ended last night, we had reports of people who had already been knocked on 3, 4, 5 times. Imagine what it's going to be like this afternoon. Imagine being a homeowner when you just got a hailstorm and all of a sudden come 9 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, your door is being banged on by roofers. You know, there's over 2,000 registered roofers, actually more like 3,000 registered roofers in my state alone. You know, so how do you differentiate yourself? You know, the natural reaction is, you know, let's go out and let's go knock a crap load of doors. Don't get me wrong. There's a certain element of door knocking that you have to be willing to do to be a successful roofing salesman. And as an owner, you got to have people that are willing to knock doors. But how do you differentiate yourself in the market? It's tough to do. It takes a lot of work. You know, how do you get yourself to a place where when the phone, when the hailstorm happens, the phones just blow up? You know, we've been blessed enough to work really hard and focused on our infrastructure. And we focused on building out processes and hiring people right and training people right and getting ready and preparing for this moment. So we're ready for it. We're ready to handle the huge mother of all storms, which is what we had last night. It was incredible. It hit all over town in a really, really big town in really nice areas. And there's going to be 1 million people out there today knocking doors. And fortunately for us, that creates a huge amount of opportunity because the way we market and the way we brand ourselves, the way we have branded ourselves, is ways that we literally, before we even got done with dinner last night, we probably had between 50 and 70 already inspections ready to go, needed to be done without knocking one door. That doesn't happen overnight. That takes grit. That takes the time to build your infrastructure, to build your business the right way, to train people the right way, to market yourself the right way, to brand yourself the right way in order to get to a place where you're able to do that sort of thing. Yeah, of course, we got to knock some doors, but it's a lot easier knocking doors when you've already been plugged into the neighborhood because they called you, and then now you're doing is just knocking doors for referrals. That's way better than just jumping in a car with an army of people going out there knocking a whole bunch of doors. Man, it was really, really funny yesterday. You know, hailstorms happened. Social media went crazy. I mean, it was just absolutely nuts. I was on there a long time. We have a lot of communication with the sales team, and it was just every 2 seconds somebody posting something about hail and the huge hailstorm, and every roofer in this town threw some sort of Facebook ad up there trying to get you to call them and yada, yada, yada. No one really has anything to differentiate themselves, you know. So, and it's funny because you hear some people posting And I hear other owners out there posting, oh, I have an army of guys ready to go. Look for my army. They're coming out. I got 40, 50 guys going to be out banging on doors all day long, pissing off homeowners all day. Great. Good for you. That's not how we do this. It's not how this business is meant to be done. You're not meant to have 40, 50 guys to get to your goals. I mean, if you plan your business and do this thing the right way, man, you're going to be able to do a lot more with less people and have a much better success rate and have a much more smooth of a storm, because a lot of things are going to happen. A lot of things are going to happen to roofers and entrepreneurs out there in the next couple weeks. You know, one of those things that's going to happen is all of a sudden you're going to sell a crap load of roofs. A lot of people, unfortunately, aren't really that experienced or aren't trained properly on how to actually manage and handle this sort of volume and these sorts of jobs. So what happens is a lot of companies are going to get way behind. Companies are going to not know exactly what to do as far as handling all the production. The office is going to be absolute chaos. The sales team is going to be absolute chaos because they're not going to have any sort of direction. They're just going to be running around all over town, you know, banging on doors, trying to get as many roofs as they possibly can without having any sort of strategy in mind. I don't know about you, but my ultimate situation is to do $10 million in revenue with 10 sales guys. If you have 10 sales professionals trained, ready to execute, ready to handle the volume, and you have the infrastructure built out to help them get to that mark, it can be done. You know, I don't understand why people think they need to throw 30, 40 guys out there hoping that 4 or 5 of them are actually worth a dang. You know, I'm in the mindset that I would rather have 10 to 15 guys and have all of them be successful. And it's my responsibility as an owner to provide the training and provide the guidance to help them be successful. You know, I don't need 40 guys to do $10 million. I need 10 guys to do $10 million because I have 10 sharp snipers that are ready to go out there and take down these roofs one at a time at a really high rate and keep our really, really good reputation intact. So my advice to you, to roofers, especially, you know, a lot of guys coming up. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have been doing this a long time. There's a lot of companies that are bigger than mine. There's a lot that I still can learn, absolutely, and I'm learning every day. You know, but some of the guys trying to coming up and get started, or, you know, some of the people out there working on their businesses, trying to build their roofing businesses, you know, think about things from a different perspective. You know, what do you really need to get to your goals, to get to that next level of revenue? You know, is it really going to benefit you to just keep hiring and keep hiring and keep hiring and throwing guys out there and throwing guys out there and throwing guys out there and just hoping that they're going to stick? You're just hoping that one of them is going to be good. One of them is going to somehow accidentally know how to sell roofs and figure it out before they quit, before they leave a trail of crap behind them. You know, what happens is guys get out there, they sell a bunch of roofs, but they don't know how to manage. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know all the stuff to do after the sale. So they just leave a huge headache for the managers, for the owners, for whoever's trying to come out there in behind them to make this stuff happen. So that's tough. You know, there's a certain element that you got to knock doors. You got to be willing to knock doors. You know, I'm not trying to completely discredit knocking doors, because, you know, knocking doors is what got me to where I am.